So that was quick. It took barely no time for Hermes to release the Eau De Parfum version of H24, which of course came out quite recently. I'm sure next year we'll have the Parfum version of it. But in any case, in today's video, I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on this brand new fragrance by the luxury designer giant Hermes. So make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I tell you all about the brand new H24 Eau De Parfum by Hermes, and I also give you my thoughts on it, how it compares to the Eau de Toilette, which one I prefer, longevity, performance, all that good stuff. I just want to start things off by saying that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit that bell icon so you could be notified whenever I do upload future videos to the channel. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, or if you took something of value from today's episode. It would really mean a lot to me. So Christine Nagel is the perfumer for this fragrance. And of course, if you know the original H24 by Hermes, you would know that it's a clary sage balm. It has a lot of this molecule called sclarine, and it kind of has like this bright, youthful, modern, aromatic appeal to it. One that does get compared to either rosemary or clary sage. It just has like this aromatic, sort of an herbal vibe to it. And of course, Hermes fragrances do have the tendency of smelling quite herbal. I'm thinking of the Un Jardin line, right? They all have something kind of herbal or reminiscent of being in a garden. I mean, it's in the name of the collection, for goodness sakes. But in any case, I'm excited to give you my thoughts on the brand new H24 Eau De Parfum, which also has oak moss, narcissus, and Brazilian rosewood. But let's go ahead and start things off with the presentation. So my initial impression on this fragrance is that it smells a lot like the original, the Eau de Toilette. Now, of course, the Eau de Toilette is very light and airy. That's not to suggest that it's not long lasting. I mean, it lasts a decent amount of time, and given its concentration, it's an EDT. Of course, I'm not gonna make this a comparison video, but I do wanna use the original as a springboard to mention that the Eau de Parfum, while it does have some resemblances to the Eau de Toilette, you can tell where it differs. And I think the differences become abundant once you do that side-by-side comparison. So this one actually opened up to me smelling a little bit like a fig accord. So it's interesting, I've smelled a lot of fragrances that contain fig as a fantasy note. There's no such thing as real fig in fragrances, whether we're talking about Purple Fig by Wilhelm or Philosopos by Diptyque, and there's a bunch of fig-based fragrances on the market. So it kind of gave me like this creamy coconut fig vibe, and that very quickly began to dissipate. And then I came to realize that, oh, wait a second, this isn't really a fruity fragrance, especially not at face value. If you look at the note breakdown, there's a lot of oak moss and clary sage. And does it have that aromatic appeal? It most certainly does. So it has that sort of aromatic, pseudo fruity, fig-like, coconut-like opening that seems to dissipate, and some of the greener textures of the fragrance come through. So the oak moss is in there, but it doesn't convey the virility, I suppose, that a lot of 80s powerhouse fragrances used to. So if you're thinking about some of the fragrances released in the 80s, Polo Green, well, that was actually late 70s, right? But if you're thinking about fragrances like those with the oak moss and the pine and the fir balsam and the vetiver and whatever else, this is not like that, right? So it still carries itself with a very modern personality, which I think a lot of people are gonna buy into. And I think this one is also gonna give you a few hours of better performance. And so that's a nice incentive for purchasing this one over the Eau de Toilette. Some people might argue that the Eau de Toilette is a little bit more diffusive, and I can't say they're wrong necessarily. I do find that the Eau de Toilette is probably going to give you a bigger scent bubble, but it's going to diminish much quicker, as opposed to this one, which will radiate within an arm's length, not beyond an arm's length, but it'll remain consistent for what, 6 hours, 5.5, 6 hours or something like that. So the performance on this one is actually quite good. I purchased this one from Macy's, and I remember on the day that I received it, which was about 3 weeks ago or a month ago or something, I did like 6 sprays on my shirt, right? Which to some might seem excessive, but I just recall smelling myself throughout the day and I'm like, wow, this stuff is still going strong. I had done a few sprays on my forearm as well, but it was really what was lingering on my t-shirt that projected really, really nicely. I think you have to get close to somebody in order for them to smell you, but I got really decent performance from this one. And of course you would kind of expect that from it, right? Especially given the fact that it's an Eau De Parfum, so you want it to be an improvement in performance over the Eau de Toilette. But in terms of the Brazilian rosewood, there's a smooth woodsy quality in the base. It's not peppery. You know, I would have been convinced had they told me that sandalwood is in here. I would have believed that. There's a sort of creamy texture about it as well, and I think that that's why I was originally thinking of fig or coconut in the opening, but I really like this fragrance. I wasn't immediately wowed by the Eau de Toilette. I think the Eau de Toilette was nice, it's safe, it's contemporary, it's pleasant, it's easy to wear. Certainly doesn't have the compliment factor as fragrances like Bleu de Chanel or Dior Sauvage do, so that's a different story, but it definitely has this professional, masculine, modern, sort of contemporary vibe to it that I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy. So this one just takes some of the best elements of the Eau de Toilette and makes them better. So I think that that's good. I think that, you know, there might be a price differential, and for a lot of people, I think it'll be worth it, but definitely check out the Eau de Parfum. If you tried the Eau de Toilette, perhaps you weren't as crazy about it, just like me, give this one a chance. I think you might like this. And let me tell you something. I bought a lot of fragrances over the past few weeks. I bought the new Burberry for women. I bought the new Calvin Klein. These are all fragrances that I'm getting ready to review. The new Ralph Lauren, the new Defy by Calvin Klein, the new Drakkar Intense, and I even have the new Hugo Boss. And let me tell you something, this Hermes is one of the better fragrances that I ended up purchasing. So I know some of these other fragrances might probably receive a lukewarm response from me, but that says a lot in terms of the H24. I think it's a great fragrance. Christy Nagel did a wonderful job on it. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. Now, first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, well, I think this one is a true flanker in the sense that it did remind me a lot of the Eau de Toilette. So very well done in that regard. The overall smell is incredibly pleasant. I think clary sage, relatively speaking, is an inoffensive note, and the oak moss in here does not evoke the 80s powerhouse fragrance that, you know, contained a heavy dose of oak moss. So it's very easy to get along with, very well done. Longevity on this one was about 8 or 9 hours on my skin. If you spray on clothing, it's gonna last a lot longer. Projection was great for the first hour of application, definitely radiated beyond an arm's length, but it remained a pretty consistent scent bubble for about 6 to 7 hours, right around that 9-hour mark or so. I got very close to the skin. I guess if you're wearing it as an intimate, close encounter fragrance, people will still be able to smell it on you, but I like to reapply throughout the day. So this is probably the scent that I would spray again at lunchtime, because I really do like the opening when the sclerine molecule is in full force, and it is, for the most part, a non-linear fragrance. In terms of the versatility, you can wear this one in every season, I think, except for the winter. A lot of better options for the winter time, even from the House of Hermes, actually. Although Hermes as a brand, generally speaking, creates really good hot weather fragrances, and this is no exception, especially the Eau de Toilette. It is marketed for men. I think some of the greener elements in here do allow it to lean a little bit more masculine, although that pseudo fruity vibe in the opening came across rather unisex, but once you give it a chance to settle in, like 15 minutes into the evolution, it does start to lean traditionally masculine, right? This one is great for casual or formal scenarios, and in terms of the presentation, I really like the presentation. This has more of a green tinge to it. So my final verdict on this fragrance is it's an upgrade. If you like H24, the Eau de Toilette, try the Eau de Parfum. It gives you that same personality of the Eau de Toilette, just amplified, a little bit sweeter, that pseudo fruity vibe in the opening. The sclerine molecule is in here. The oak moss is very easy to get along with. And so thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed my review of H24 Eau de Parfum by Hermes. If you did, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon and then click enable all notifications so that whenever I do upload these daily videos, you'll never miss them. They'll get delivered straight to your feed. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.